Happy Monday, my friends. My name is Tim Mikilishvili. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Amadeus Pharma. This is an Amadeus Pharma LinkedIn event. And I'm joined today by my two friends, experts, executives in the pharma industry. Again, Mark Shirachman and Meg Heim. Welcome, Mark. Meg. Mark is a Chief Global Executive Officer at Medivoke, an Initio company. And Meg Heim is president and founder of Heim Global Consulting. I'm really glad to have them here as I am going to introduce a very innovative, unique, exciting event coming up in September. And so September 15th, and the registration for this event will be opening today at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. And so I'll go over some of the details, some of the inspiration behind it, as well as the format, who should participate and why. I'm also going to ask Mark and Meg. First of all, I think it's a great way to kick off our week to speak about this exciting event. So happy Monday, Mark, Meg. I hope you guys are doing well. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having us, Tim.
Thanks for having us. Look forward to the event.
Thank you. And I really appreciated our discussion of the MAPS, Medical Affairs Professional Society meeting that took place in Europe, in Portugal as well. It's available on our podcast. We actually recorded a podcast as well. So all of you can listen to it. And now, today's meeting is going to be attended by a lot of our colleagues. And so I invite you to share this if you watch this with your friends. Let's start with the inspiration behind it. I'm calling this event Medical Affairs Innovation Olympics. So I want to start by telling you why Olympics, right? Why did I kind of integrate the word Olympics to this event? Well, I think the Olympic spirit is one that's unmistakable. It's the only time that the entire world comes together in sportsmanship, and it's not really just getting that gold medal or being a medalist, but it's being being an Olympic champion, but it's really being an Olympian and being a part of that process. I think that is something that everyone really looks forward to, and really tying it into an event that's virtual, right? Looking back at my own career, Mark, Meg, as I started medical education before spending most of my career in medical and field medical, I used to look forward to attending scientific conferences, meeting scientists, experts, asking a lot of questions, seeing what the unmet needs are, how we can address them in our companies. And I think that we have come a long way, in pharma, in biotech, and we've changed the speed of how we share ideas. Whereas if maybe years ago, we went on LinkedIn, for example, people assumed that someone was looking for a job, right? And we were careful about what we liked, what we shared, what we posted, what we commented on. But we've come a long way since then, I think. 3 years ago, for example, I attended a LinkedIn Live by Boehringer Ingelheim. Boehringer Ingelheim, a well-known pharmaceutical company that chose a very uncharacteristic way to reveal and to premiere their new cross-company training initiative that was intended to help other pharmaceutical companies enhance their good clinical practices, patient recruitment, data collection, so forth and so on. So I was truly amazed by them just choosing LinkedIn Live, which was relatively new in its infancy, not in infancy, but still relatively new. Bayer did a LinkedIn Live recently as well on precision medicine, in which they highlighted the role of AI in human pathology, in a range of other fields, and payers as well, and how they're leveraging data. And so, would you say, Meg and Mark, that we've already begun to increase that momentum in medical affairs as well, in terms of how we share information?
Absolutely, Tim. One of the things that's so clear, and I think Olympics is a good word for this, is that we're going to be pulling in from all different areas. And to your point, it's going to be all around the world. This is going to be an exciting event, and it's going to be shared in real time and quickly, just like the real world is. So I think that as we transform to more of a digital aspect, and that's what this forum will be, you're going to see people really submitting some great ideas from all over, and it's the sharing of it that is so critical.
Tim, I think also the market has changed so much in how we get information and process it. It's accelerated. So there is exponentially more to communicate. I think that the people that watch these, and I don't know, how many people do we have on today? Tim?
Well, we have some comments here. I'm not on LinkedIn, so I'm actually in our studio, but I am seeing some
Too
comments.
bad.
Yeah, so
That's great. Somebody from 30,000 feet. Well, I think that there's probably a lot of innovative ideas out there that are not just big pharma heavily funded, but are biotechs, people that are new into the space, people have been in different industries. We can learn operationally how to change what we do. So I think this Olympics, when people see what it's about and how they can participate, will get very excited about the work they're doing and how maybe those ideas that were in the back of their head and thought, how could we get this done? Maybe this is the place, that hackathon mentality.
Exactly.
all right. So that was a great segue, I think, because I think that a lot of people are interested in hearing about the structure of the event. So let's get right to it. Uh, these are some of the images that you'll be seeing for the next month, as I will be very actively communicating, letting you know more details about this event. Okay, so here the slogan is "Dare to Share for Our Healthcare" that I've chosen. And I did that because I think we're in an industry in which intellectual property is of utmost concern. However, because we've already begun to create that momentum, I think this inaugural and annual event will only continue to build new momentum for medical affairs in order for us to stay consistent with our rapidly changing environment. I'll start with a interesting definition of innovation that I heard from Captain Sully Sullenberger. Many of you will know him. I live in New York, and I'll just remind those of you that may not be familiar with him. He's a pilot whose plane whose plane's engine was knocked out by a flock of birds, and instead of following the norm of uh, taking his plane to the nearest airport, which would have probably cost the lives of hundreds of people on his plane, he landed the plane on the Hudson River. And he defines innovation as his favorite definition, actually, is to innovate is to change before you're forced to anticipate change. And so, why gamify medical affairs? Gamification is often thought of as engagement, right? Being participating, right? And how well you are you're really contributing, right? But we're going to take that a little bit further in this event, where we're going to also uh, acknowledge the fact that you practice mostly what you play. Okay, is how I term this. That we're going to measure each other's contributions, but we're also going to in an Olympics format. But we're going to apply what we actually share. Right. This is inspired by Benjamin Franklin's quote. Right. That I changed only the last line here, where I say it's yes. Tell me and I forget. Teach me and I remember. But play together and we learn as a group, as an industry, as a function, which is really the intention that Boehringer Ingelheim, Bayer, a lot of other companies, Eli Lilly, I know, has a podcast that's public where they share information open to patients, to healthcare providers. Pfizer has one as well. So that brings me to addressing this question: that that I think we alluded to before, Meg and Mark, that why share ideas across companies? And so some of my most memorable conferences or events were those that were internal. When I was at AstraZeneca, we had an innovation bank, which took place over 3 months, right? But it was internal, however. But it was to this date one of the biggest highlights of my career, because I felt like I engaged to a deeper level with my colleagues. Right, so we're going to take that and we're going to make this event external. And so what that enables us to do, I think, is to accelerate this forward flow of ideas, to measure idea quality more transparently. There are a number of different awards that you hear about. You'll hear, let's say, a particular journal say, okay, so this person won an award for won an award for their function, right? In I don't know, in research and development, or it's in sales. But you don't always know what it takes to what the criteria are, right, to get to that award. So that's why, just like ideas that take time to iterate, so should the competition. And Mark, I see you smiling. When I watch Olympics, I make sure that I don't see those spoilers. I just hate looking at the spoilers, because it's really the process of the competition as you build ideas that matters. I think, and that's what I'm trying to recreate. That we're going to recreate together, because both of you are expert judges, and we'll talk about that later. But yeah, we're accelerating our forward flow of ideas, and we're also not only accelerating the speed with which we've already been sharing, but we're going to measure the quality more transparently. Everyone who's going to participate is going to know the judges, the criteria from beginning all the way to the end.
Yeah. And I think to that point, Tim, one of the things you're bringing up is, if you participate in this, you get the opportunity to really hone in on your idea, and you'll get the opportunity to work through it. Just like you keep going back to the Olympics, part of the process is the practice. And in order to compete, you're going to make it that much better. So by participating and signing up and being part of this process, you're going to really have to bring it to a point where you're going to have to present it and submit it to the judges. And then therefore you'll know how it stands. And you can share that with really a larger audience.
Yeah. Thanks, Mark. So let's continue. And then the third point, in terms of why people should share ideas across companies, is that they'll be able to understand how their idea may relate, to a more universal audience, right? Or they may be able to change their idea, or maybe take some parts of it, from let's say med tech or medical devices, and adapt it to medical affairs, for example. Meg, I don't know if your microphone is back, but
yes,
I know you had a good example.
Yeah, I think that we are not looking for product specific. We're looking at how you operationalize what you're trying to attain. And that really transcends all companies organizationally, and really pushing the envelope of where does medical sit in the innovation space, not just digital, but truly innovative operations, innovative education delivery, and just innovative interactions and bringing products to market.
Yeah. We have a comment from Kirtida Pandya, our expert judge in medical education, also a friend and a mentor. I'm really excited that she'll be participating. She'll be evaluating a lot of your ideas. So she says, "Bring it on! I love participating in hackathons." And yeah, and Meg, I believe that you had talked about a hackathon that you participated in as well. That was internal, correct? Have you seen? What were some of your highlights from it, and have you what are the benefits of maybe opening it kind of externally as well?
I think one of the things that you see is that your idea, many people have thought about it in the
Right.
past, but maybe not how to operationalize it. Also, in our hackathon, which was virtual reality, sorry, I'm losing my voice. It was able to be used by vaccine business. It was able to be used by industrial relations. So when you come up with an idea on education and information delivery, it's not just in products. It can be used anywhere in your company. And that's how you really get to expand the value.
Yeah. Okay, let's continue because I know that we're going to get a lot of comments here. And so I think a lot of those who are attending are interested in the details of who can participate and why. I think we talked a little bit about the why here, but these are just some of the images that I chose here to share with all of you in order to understand that it starts with competition. We're in a very competitive, very uncertain environment, and that's why I want to bring some excitement, to add some excitement to our function and to our industry, because of that uncertainty that we can turn on its head, right? In a form of a competition. And so, we start with competition and we compete for various different things: technology, resources, job positions, roles, as you can see. But then we move into the collaboration, and we collaborate with each other, where we don't only share words, we don't only share information, but we also share emotions as well. And that's when we start to innovate, I think. And then those types of kind of environments is what usually are what sparks our ideas. So that's kind of the spectrum, the innovation spectrum, going from competing to collaborating to innovating. Okay, and as I kind of recall some of those highlights from my personal life and career, I remember when the medical teams had all of a sudden started to play volleyball, and we're in a team building exercise where we competed with each other, but you felt most alive. You felt most closest to your colleagues with whom you were competing, but you were presenting yourself, your full self, your presence, was felt by everyone, right? And that's why, and when you create, right, you bring to life new ideas, but also you feel alive yourself in that process, in that competition during the Olympics, which is what we're going to be recreating, and why I want to stress for you to dare to share, for the benefit of all of our healthcare. Fast edit, right? After you create, you'll be able to edit your ideas. The ideas you submit initially when you register, or when the event starts, you'll have unlimited versions that you will be able to submit. So you create, you edit to collaborate, and then you move and shake to innovate, to inspire, to make the decisions that are going to be relevant. Here is the basic overview of the event. Okay, so the registration is going to open at 12 p.m. 12 p.m. today, Eastern Time. You'll be able to register as competitors, as speakers, attendees, or judges. More details on that in subsequent slides. Opening ceremony will take place on September 15th, probably in the morning. I'm still working out the times and the agenda. We'll have expert panelists. We'll have Medical Affairs Professional Society. We'll talk about the MAPS membership, and some other surprise guests as well from Amadea Pharma, my consultants as well, and others. So it starts out as an asynchronous, online, fully virtual discussion forum that is divided into 2 elimination rounds. Right after one round, the first round is going to conclude on September 30th, during which time we'll vote. We'll vote on our favorite ideas, and then those who advance are going to go on and for the next 2 weeks, and they'll iterate their ideas. They'll respond to questions, challenges, those who will be eliminated will still be eligible for some awards as well, special recognitions. And then October 14th is when the asynchronous round concludes before the live stream debate. So it's a month-long, multi-round, multi-stage competition that really represents, ideation. That represents how ideas evolve over time. Because you have a great idea, but you need to work on it. You need to constantly refine it, right? That's what life teaches us, right? Practice. And then we'll end with live stream debates and a closing ceremony, October 20th through 23rd. Here are the 4 event categories. So this is probably very interesting to a lot of our colleagues. There are gonna be 4 general events categories: evidence generation, scientific communication, field medical affairs, and operations and tech, which is a growing function in medical affairs, I think. And so here are some of the details in terms of the parts and the different functions and specialties within each of the categories. So if you're in medical strategy, health economics even, you're a medical director, real world evidence, probably you're going to submit ideas into evidence generation. And others are shown here as well: field medical operations, digital analytics. There's probably other specialties here. I want to take a quick break and see if you have any comments on this, on the event categories here, or any other suggestions, anything that we're missing, or how would you, what would you add in maybe some of these?
So for me, I would say do not be limited by this. Don't forget that you have the ability to impact regulatory, clinical development, legal, all of these things that if you come up with a good business case, you have the opportunity to redefine how you do your role. And I think that's something that, so don't discount if you don't see a type of person under one of these. And frankly, in a lot of the smaller companies, this may be one person.
That's so true, Meg. And that's the other thing too. And I think you mentioned it, Meg, too. It's not just a solution or a product or a digitals. It could also be a process too. A lot of times when we're working with clients, it is the process, and we look at that. And I think there could be some major gains there in innovation.
And the one person I forgot was HR, because retaining and recruiting excellent people is an ongoing process. And all of this doesn't work unless you have the best. So I hope that you'll be a cross collaborative team as you look at who else can impact from the benefit of your knowledge.
Tim, I think you're on mute.
Yeah, Tim, there was one other thing I wanted to say. I mean, the really amazing thing about this also is this is endorsed and in partnership with MAPS, the Medical Affairs Professional Society. So when you think about the best of cross collaboration, the FOGs, how you share information at meetings, this is a way of taking your idea, and you may not be on the stage yet presenting it, and you may not be at the meeting presenting it. This is your chance. This is your chance to get in front of people and really step up for your personal career and say, I have a better idea. And then get feedback from leaders that you are now a part of.
Yeah, and it's so true, Meg. I mean, you never know where a great idea is going to come from, and really to hone it in this format is an excellent opportunity for everybody.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad you mentioned MAPS, because I think it's also a great model there. And absolutely, I'm so glad that MAPS is all sponsoring, partnering with this event. And I think, to your point, Meg, once you get that feedback is probably going to be magnified, right? So if someone doesn't like your idea, now you're going to have an idea that has a lot more feet, behind it, and a lot more strength, right? Or or that has a completely different image or different look that you can present once again. I've seen some of the best ideas in my career being called a waste of time, and that they took 2 years to bring to life, but that generated directly $40 million of business directly, and that changed the trajectory of companies before, and that were traced back to medical affairs. And so let's. So I'm now a quick question to you both, since we've kind of already almost touched on this. How does the experience level of our colleagues really affect or impact whether or not they should participate? Should this be early career? Do you see experts, executives submitting ideas, which I hope, but what do you think, Meg, Mark?
So for me, I think it's anybody. And I think that earlier in my career, I was told, oh, what you did before you came here into pharma really doesn't count because now you're in medical affairs. And the reality is everybody brings special replicable skills with them. You may have people who were in different industries. They may have been in a payer industry. They may have lived globally. They may be working globally. They may not be an expat. They may be one of our many chapters of maps around the globe. There's a lot of great work doing around the world where people don't have platforms to share it. And I think at any stage in your career, if you have a good idea, diverse groups make better companies. So bring it all.
Yeah. I would totally agree, Meg. I think you're going to see all levels, and I would recommend all levels to submit and come up with great ideas. Again, it's an opportunity too. If you can't get the stage or the speaker or the opportunity to present within your own company, it might be a great opportunity to really bring it to light in here in this forum.
Yeah, and this is also mentorship taken on a different level. I think it's not individual mentorship only, but it's cross-company mentorship, similar to what the intention of that Boehringer Ingelheim LinkedIn Live was, where that company was mentoring some of the other startups, knowing that there are a lot of mergers and acquisitions, there's a lot of in-licensing that goes on. So it really stands to benefit all of us in the industry to improve clinical development, for example, right? And so, or medical affairs in our case, right? So we are getting some good comments from Sem Lemelman. Very interesting. So glad there's some enthusiasm here. Let's continue. So who should enter and participate in this event? All the idea submissions, first of all, will remain the sole intellectual property of their authors. So this is an important disclaimer and a rule. Although, look, I have a personal mentor, Jeffrey Borer, who said, if you want to be happy in life, don't worry about getting credit for it. But no worries, everyone, you will all get credit for these ideas. This is not a one-time event. This is an Amadea Pharma event that will invite innovation every year. And so I want to give fuel to ideas, some of the best ideas, and to continue building on them, right? Fundamental rule is going to be for us to really be comfortable with each other. I think that's very important. And kind of the second one is not meant to be amusing, but it's actually very true that all participants agree to disagree, but not to be indifferent about innovation. I think that's a fundamental rule here, right? By active participation, ideation, debate, and evaluation. Let's not shy away from receiving feedback in real time, changing our ideas. Okay. Now, who should register? Individuals currently or previously working as an employee, contractor, or supporting medical affairs as a solution provider for pharma, medical device, and diagnostics companies. If you're currently or you've ever worked in medical affairs or supported medical affairs in some way in biotech, then we invite you. I invite you to participate. The registration again is going to have three options. Again, competitors who are going to be registering as speakers. attendees, spectators, and expert judges. And we have an industry all-star panel of expert judges, my friends. It's just, I think it's very, they're volunteering a lot of their time. They're putting in the time, so they want to see some of the best ideas and some of the, not just ideas, but hypotheses and unmet needs as well that you can highlight. And so that brings me to what we're expecting you to submit. The idea doesn't have to be any particular length. It can be something very short, which you can build upon later. You have a whole month to build upon it. All right. If you want one particular non-revenue generating or a function that doesn't have or doesn't manage their own budget, for example, and you want them to also have a budget, right? For example, and that's the extent of your idea. I would encourage you to submit it. Okay, it can be a case study. It can be a solution to a medical affairs problem, concept, or study design, or your own personal position statement, something that kind of irks you a little bit and something that you want to change, right? I mean, I'll go back to that example of how it took 2 years for an idea to become a late-breaking abstract that should have taken probably 2 months. And once we finally got a chance to present it, we posted it as authors, co-authors, without any comments, yet we were challenged about why it is that we posted something on LinkedIn that we authored ourselves, or we co-authored with a thought leader. Or, so I think we've changed that in the last 3 years. And we're also not only, that, but we are starting to, form different groups on LinkedIn, different communities, right? And so I think that these kind of questions that you ask are also valuable, not just ones that have conclusions. Okay. So a personal position statement, editorial review, and all of your ideas should explain why it's valuable to your organization, to other attendees, and also to the medical function as a whole. Because chances are, as Meg mentioned, you'll present those ideas to your organization, or someone may find some part of it, right? One thing that I've heard recently, just through being a little bit more active via social media, by interviewing people, leaders in my industry, in my podcast, is that there are companies apparently that use Slack to change their norms of communication in medical affairs that I didn't know about. I heard about it by interviewing Salesforce's Chief Growth Officer, Tiffany Bova, on my podcast. So these kind of personal position statements for why more companies should use Slack, for example, could be one idea, right? So what are the restrictions in terms of the idea? I think we need to know what you can and cannot submit also. The ideas should be non-proprietary. They must be non-proprietary. You can submit an idea. One person can submit one idea in 4 categories. So you can actually submit 4 ideas. I was even thinking of kind of loosening up that limit, but I think there's a lot of interest. We're going to get a lot of ideas. Mark, Meg, any comments on that? Limiting to 1 idea per category per person?
Yeah, I think you should go with your best idea and
Okay.
refine it, because focus matters, and really think about who this is going to impact. I wanted to give a quick example because it's still, to me, like, okay, what do we put in? We had a problem. Our problem was, where is our education with physicians and patients? Does it stick? I was in another meeting that had nothing to do with pharma, and they said virtual reality has 60% greater retention of information. And we thought, where could we use that? Could we take these slide decks and do something in virtual reality? And so we put a proposal together for that for the hackathon. Even though the information was exactly the same that was in a slide deck, it was turned down originally by legal and regulatory. And we went back and said it's approved information. So it was a delivery. And then I think that's what's important, because it was really, they weren't sure about the technology. So it's not always digital. It is what problem are you solving for, and what can you come up innovatively to source that?
Yeah, thank you, Meg. So we have a comment from Gorana Dasic. Where is this going to be posted? So there will be some links. Yes, there will be posts from maps, but we're going to post in the comments, Gorana, the link to the registration. Right now, the agenda is still being worked out, but you're able to register for the event. And so I'm going to share that in the comments. We're going to share that here. Okay, a link to the registration, to how you can register.
And Tim, just a couple of housekeeping questions. So
Sure.
the opens up today, right, for registration? Is that
right?
And then how long do they have to register? Let's say they were inspired and they registered today, or you know what, they want to think about it, talk to a couple colleagues, and then get back to it. When does the registration close?
So the registration right now closes in a month, on September 15th.
Great.
September 15th in the morning.
And one of the other questions that I got was, is there a cost to register?
Right. It's a free event. It's going to be free in this inaugural first Olympics event, my friend. So it's a great opportunity for you. There's also going to be sponsorship available, and so we'll get to that as well.
Good.
So yeah, any other questions, Mark?
No, I think that was the main ones. I think this is an exciting event, and I know there's a lot of people that'll be extremely interested in putting their ideas forward.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. Yeah, so here are some details on what format your ideas should be submitted in. So if you have a Word document, convert it into a PDF. If you want to send a Word document, feel free to send it to me. I'll convert it for you, but the submissions should be a PDF, a presentation, slides, also in PDF, video recordings, or live streams. And you have all the limits here. There's a 300-word limit for a poster type of summary, but again, you can build on it as well. If you have no results available, again, as I mentioned earlier, the questions that we ask are sometimes just as important as the answers, right? And so I really welcome and encourage you to submit your hypothesis for why you think something, a study design, for example, or an internal study design of a workflow, for example, and operations. So include your rationale, include as much relevant information, even if you don't have any conclusions, even if you have a work that's in progress or an idea that you've had. And again, the last point here, unlimited edits to original submissions are going to be allowed throughout the event. The platform we'll use is Whova. So if you're, if you're watching this now, let me know if you're familiar with Whova. It's actually one of the first apps that I used in a virtual meeting, when virtual meetings became just multiplied numbers. Whova, and I found it very easy to use, so I went with Whova for this first year. And so you can also visit my website, amatdevpharma.com. I'll constantly be sharing updates. All right, so visit amatdevpharma.com. I have a link already there to my registration site. Any comments on Whova, anyone? I think it should be very easy to use. There's a web app through the browser and a smartphone meeting. And now let's get to the evaluation. So we'll have, again, as I mentioned, an industry all-star panel of expert judges that have diverse expertise across the 4 categories that will be evaluating each other. You will have real-time voting from judges, which will be separate. So judges will not be influenced or seeing the votes of the attendees, but they will be combined together. And judges will be given more extensive criteria to evaluate the ideas upon. Validity, predictability, exclusivity, novelty, and applicability, which I'll explain in a subsequent slides. Here is an important recommendation that I have from a lot of my other expert judges and leaders, executives here in medical affairs, to please, if you're a judge at this event, base your voting on the merits of the submission, not the author. This is not just the Olympics, but it's also the Festival of Ideas. Festival of Ideas. It's where ideas are the protagonists, not the authors. Okay, so that's very important. If you have any comments, I welcome you to comment, my friends. And I don't know, Mark, Meg, what do you think about that? Maybe you disagree. I don't know. Whatever you agree. Any comments? Or any suggestions, recommendations to the judges? Well, by the way, we have two judges right here. Meg and Mark will be our expert judges. They kindly volunteered, and I'm absolutely grateful to them.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of this, right, is the integrity that people are going to spend their time, submit, and they're going to be treated fairly. I think we all understand that. We've been doing this for a long time. All ideas are equal, and then they get voted on.
Yeah. And I would agree. I think it's fairly, and also to look at them to see if how could they be applied? Is it something that has some value? I think is important too. Is it real world? Is it something that could be rolled out and used?
Yeah. All right. So there will be real-time voting where people will receive real-time feedback. So competitors, the speakers, and judges will have their dedicated links sent to them in 2 weeks. 2 weeks after the event starts, during which they'll each be able to vote. And the final score is comprised of 50% from the judges and 50% from attendees, right? Equal weight. These are the criteria for the judges. You'll be able to see this. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but the relevance of the idea to the solution, right? How likely is the idea to correlate to an intended outcome? Predictability, number 2. How likely is it to cause a desired outcome exclusively, right? So that's the exclusivity part. How, can it really be a prescriptive solution, or is it just predictive? It can be correlated, right? Novelty, the extent of originality, right? Something, right? And then fifth, how likely is it to be applied in the real world, and how diverse is its potential application? All right. So those are the 5 criteria which I'll be reminding the judges, throughout the event. Again, the key dates very quickly. August 15th, we already talked about this. We're going to put a link in the comments. September 15th is when the live stream event kicks off. It's probably going to be about 3 hours. It's not going to require a lot of your time. I really took that into consideration when I planned this event. I know it's a virtual event, but it's not just a networking event. And it's not a typical conventional conference, scientific conference, but it's an innovation, ideation event in which you measure ideas as well. You evaluate ideas. So, and there's not going to be simultaneous sessions here. So you won't have to spend days out, to attend this event. Just a few hours on live to kick off the meeting, and then you'll have an opportunity to share and comment on ideas on demand at your leisure. September 30th, we'll conclude the first round again. Top 10 competitors in each of the categories advanced to round 2, again, as I mentioned. And then October 14th, the second round will continue, where we'll actually choose the 4 top 5 semifinalists in each of the 4 categories. So there will be another vote. And the votes, we're going to actually address the geographical zone differences. So those votes that will take place, they'll have 24-hour shelf life or life cycle, right? In 24 hours, the voting will close, and we'll do the calculations, 50% each from the judges and your fellow attendees. And then October 20th through the 23rd will be when the final round starts, when people will be competing for the medals, gold, silver, and bronze medalists at this Olympics. But they'll take 4 hours each. there will be 2 separate live streams. So 1 live stream for each of the 4 categories. So only the relevant people will be able to tune in. Hopefully all of you. And so October 20th, which is a Thursday, will be 1 category, or 2 categories. October 21st will be 2 remaining categories in live stream format, in which there will be time. All of these live streams will be timed, and as a moderator, I'll make sure to keep everyone on schedule. 10 minutes to present the ideas again, the latest version of the ideas. Competitors will be able to challenge each other, ask questions, comment, compete, right? Also, we'll take some time from the Q&A. And as the debates continue, the speakers will have real-time feedback. Every 20 minutes, they'll see the results of the votes. But only the final votes at the end of 2 hours will be calculated. Top 2 will advance to the gold medal finalists. And very importantly, there's no requirement to be live on video camera. This is based on a lot of research on creativity, on the impact that virtual communication has on creativity. There's a latest article in Nature that I've spoken about on previous LinkedIn Lives. And so you're not required to be on camera, to be on video, to speak to the camera, to all of us, as you can present your ideas. You can have a PDF, slides, you can not have anything, just be on audio. You can walk around the room, not like what I'm doing now, but that's in an effort to inspire your creativity, because this is not an in-person meeting. Any comments on that real quick before we close here in the next few minutes?
Yeah, so Tim, I just wanted to say I mean, you went very much into the details and it's great, but for people who are out there and want to participate, hopefully all of this will also get posted to LinkedIn and to Maps for people who couldn't join this meeting.
Mhm.
Honestly, guys, get approval on your idea to participate. You've got 4 weeks to submit it. 2 weeks later, votes in. 2 weeks later, vote again. Then we go to the finals. It is not labor intensive. It sounded it, but it really isn't. Just bring your best ideas and let's kick this off and have some fun.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Thank you. Thank you. So a great way to kind of bring us towards the conclusion of this LinkedIn Live. Gold medal finals, very quickly, will take place on Saturday and Sunday. There'll be a closing ceremony as well, maybe some speakers, surprises, more to come on that. It'll only take 2 hours of your time on the weekend, Saturday, 3 hours on Sunday. The awards, okay, you'll post this again. The top ideas of the year, those who will receive the gold medals, will be featured in the Maps Innovate article. There will also in an Elevate podcast. The runners-up, the silver medalists, will receive a free full-year Maps membership sponsored by Pharma, and one full year of Maps mentorship as well, where you'll be able to maybe enhance those ideas, maybe win the gold medal the next year. Next year, I hold this event. If you're currently members, if already of Maps, then Pharma will sponsor the equivalent value financially, or if you choose, or a discount towards an upcoming Maps masterclass as well. And those of you who will not win, right, will not be voted as winners or will gold medals or be Olympic medalists, you will receive a certificate and a recognition according to these 6 very unique awards, okay, special awards and recognitions for different attributes of your idea that may be promising, that may be worth revisiting, but you will be recognized, including some of those most active ideators who are attendees, who are active spectators, okay? So remember, you can register as not only competitors, but also as attendees. We really need you attendees as well. And this is when I'll actually share one other very quick memory from the 2004 Olympics in Greece, when a gymnast who was not even from the host country, he performed his best, and yet he received very low values from the judges. And at that point, the entire stadium got up, on their feet, and they revolted. They protested for an athlete who's not even from their country. And something unprecedented happened there, where the judges in gymnastics, a sport that usually never ever changes their evaluations, ended up raising the score of that athlete. And so that just really reiterates why I want you guys to also to register as attendees, as active spectators, right? Who will participate as well.
I would like to
And
comment, though, that we will
sure.
stick by the judges' credibility and integrity so that that doesn't happen.
Yeah, well, right, so, absolutely, Meg. But this event, I think, will not be possible without our attendees and votes as well. So don't feel obligated like you have to submit an idea. We want you to submit ideas, but also to also participate as attendees as well. But absolutely. Now, those who are going to be bronze medalists, who are not going to get into the final on Saturday and Sunday, this event, Amadeus Pharma will feature you in a blog article, all of you, will or a series of blog articles, as well as podcast episodes, a series of podcast episodes where I'll interview also the judges, because I want to share your experiences as well throughout this month, as we're going to evaluate, each other's ideas and enhance them as well. Again, so why should you participate? Again, this is hands-on brainstorming, accelerating idea forward flow via real-time feedback. You'll have private access to on-demand discussion notes and recordings 3 months post-event. So even though it sounds like this is an external event here, it's not completely public. We're not going to be going on LinkedIn Live, for this event. This is going to be a private forum through the Whova web app and smartphone app, and you'll have a chance to go back to a lot of the notes, the comments you received. And then finally, again, like Captain Sully Sullenberger said, innovate before you're forced to. Innovate before you're forced to, in order to address problems, unmet needs in medical affairs. Right? I think that's very important, to anticipate change. And then, of course, original best practices and ideal world scenarios. If restrictions are in place currently that are not enabling that idea, you're welcome to submit those ideal world scenarios where you can anticipate new ideas as well. So let's create, let's edit, let's move and shake in this 2022 Medical Affairs Innovation Olympics. Let's dare to share for the benefit of our own health, our healthcare collectively, to build new momentum for medical affairs, my friends. I'm looking forward to this event. I'm very excited about it. I'll be working on sharing much more. You'll hear a lot more from me and from all of us. Any other comments, Mark, Meg?
I think it's going to be an exciting event. I look forward to being a judge. I also look forward to seeing some of the new ideas, solutions, tactics, everything that comes in. And I would encourage everybody, whatever level you are, to participate. I think it's going to be very exciting to see. And, although it sounds like there's a lot of steps involved, it should be fun. It should be enjoyable, and it should be a learning experience. And as time goes on, you'll hone and really put together a really nice presentation, because that's part of Olympics. A lot of practice, but I think when you finally present this thing in its entirety at the end, it's going to be exciting.
I also think it's a great way to stretch, not just with this, but also with MAPS and being part of that mentorship opportunity and group. And by putting some of this on MAPS, it does expand it beyond, and really having, everything in a couple places that you can go, that you can link across.
Yeah.
Great.
We have a comment here from Cameron too, as well. So he's excited about the event here. That gets to the mindset of collaboration and betterment of the industry as a whole. Thank you so much. Thank you, Cameron. All right, well, let's get on with our week. Happy Monday. I think this is an exciting way to start off our week. I'm looking forward to this event, my friends. Go to amadeapharma.com. I'll be updating you on it, and I'll post a link to how you can register. Thanks, Mark, Meg, and everyone.
Thank you. Look forward to it.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.